Welcome back to the morning show here on the Rise News. This week, the All Progressives Congress has dominated the headlines after the announcement by the National Working Committee of the party naming former Akwa Ibom Governor Senator Godswill Akpabio as its consensus candidate for Senate presidency. Since the announcement by APC on Monday, some senators-elect have kicked against it. The ruling party also adopted the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, Senator Jibrin Barau, as the next deputy Senate president. Chairman, Southwest Governors Forum and Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu yesterday rejected the proposed zoning formula, saying it is brazenly skewed, unjust and targeted against some zones and individuals. How will the APC peacefully navigate the controversy provoked by its zoning of NAS offices? What happens to the independence of the legislature and the relationship between the executive and legislature going forward? Joining us on the show this morning to discuss the zoning controversy of the key positions of the incoming 10th National Assembly is Bola Bakare, APC chieftain, former member PCC on Public Affairs. Welcome to the morning show. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear, and I'm glad to be here.
Great to have you on. Right, so let's go straight to it. I asked a few questions in my introduction with regards to how does the APC plan to begin to mend the relationships between senators-elect who have come out to say that this process is unjust, it's unfair, and it shouldn't have happened without consultation with them. I mean, yesterday they approached the National Secretariat of the APC meeting with your national chairman where he owned the responsibility of what had happened and said they were going to go back and reorganize. How do you begin to fix this issue, Mr. Bakare?
Thank you, my dear. To start with, I would like to place some words as a backdrop on your mind, one of which is the element of internal democracy within the APC, which is your own kind of position too. And second of all is the element of what we will do. That was your main question, what the APC will do to mend fences and make sure that all things are on the right track. My second pally that I want to keep at the back of your mind is one thing that belongs to all of us, what we all go through. I am sure you have siblings back at home. I guess I'm right. It's either your number is 1 or you're in the middle or at the baseline. There are instances where you have squabbles, and I call them healthy squabbles. It takes mom or dad to settle those squabbles. At times, those squabbles happen in most cases when it is meal time, where big brother says, I am the big brother, I should take the big beef. And the small one says, I'm still growing, you should give me the big beef. Mom or dad comes in this time around to say, okay, you're the big brother, pay big brother, and let the little brother have it. And there are instances where the reverse is the case. So like I said earlier, that this is a pure case of internal democracy within the APC. Factor in the element of the family, which we all belong to, and then understand my position as I go ahead from here. What you have said is what has happened within the party. And I would liken that to the kind of squabble that happens between the family. Honestly, if we reverse the case and say, okay, the other members of the party that are saying, no, we are not going to agree to this, let us go this way, we will still have the same situation on ground. But remember what I said, in the family setting, there is always that room for squabbles, there is always that room for settlement by the elders of the family, the father and the mother. In this case here, we have our political party, the APC, All Progressive Congress, as the family. We have our NWC, the working committee that looks at things closely before they come up with postulations and information that they disseminate to the public, which you have rightly heard. But the thing is, there is always that extra room to listen to all parties concerned. I repeat, all parties concerned. There is no way I am the little brother and you give my big brother a bigger beef and I won't make a beef about it, in quote. That is what we're seeing. That is the dynamism of politicking, and that is what APC is looking at closely. If you listen well to our party chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, he said it then, that whatever it is we have thrown out at the populace and the party members, it's all susceptible to rejigging and retooling. And that is the essence of politicking. We are going to retool, we are going to rejig, we are going to renegotiate, we are going to listen to ourselves some more. And then there is always that instance that there are some parties that are not around that have a voice that will eventually lend a voice in what is happening.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Truth of the matter is that what is happening in your party is a clear case of those that have food and are eating to the fullest and still want to collect the little beef from the plate of those that have none. And that's the thrust of the beef in your party. What some people are singing in your party.
Who?
Hang on a minute.
I had a female voice earlier. Who am I on to now?
This is Rufai Oseni. Another thing happening in your party is a clear case of some people having food and they cannot eat. And some can eat, but they have no food. So how could you, or how are you guys going to reconcile all of this? And I can put names in the frame. I mean, look at the likes of people in the Southeast like Ojus or Kalu that are complaining that they have a steak. But also, when I say some have food they cannot eat, some can eat but have no food. And those that have eaten enough want to collect from the other people. Look at the likes of Mr. Yari that came on the papers to say, despite the fact that the Northwest got the position of the speakership and the deputy Senate president, Mr. Yari is still saying that the Northwest deserves the Senate presidency because they gave 2.7 million votes. Front page Daily Trust advertorial this morning. How do you reconcile all of this?
Thank you, my brother Rufai. I like the inference you made to what I said earlier in terms of family meal time and the element of that word beef, that there is a beef in the house about the beef we're going to eat. Let me clarify this. The element of saying some have food, some don't have food, I would like to tell you one thing for free. They are all our members in the National Assembly are all in the same category. That's one. Two, thank God you're a Yoruba man and then you understood my analogy of mealtime, big brother, small beef, big beef, and then at the end of the day, mom and dad comes to the fore to make sure that everything is settled. But the thing here is, there is nothing wrong in democratic politicking and internal politics of the APC. There is nothing wrong in voicing what you feel you can get. For God's sake, in a 100-meter race, somebody is going to win. In any case, in any situation on earth, somebody is bound to win. There is going to be a first and a second. The fact that there is going to be a first, like in a 100-meter race, does not mean there won't be 7 others that will be giving you a run for your money. There will be second, third to 7th. That is what we are having as we speak. There are others in there that have a right in terms of politics and democracy to come to the fore and say, look here, I want this. It is now, the onus is now on the party itself to say, okay, you have a right to say that, but come down. Let's sit down. Let's renegotiate. Let's rejig the situation on hand. This is what we have on ground. This is what we think. That is why we have an NWC, National Working Committee. This is what we think is best for the party. And at times there are instances when some of those postulations are based on well-founded basis. Let me quote you this. In politics, like they say, politics is a game of numbers. Votes count in politics. Yeri came up and said, oh, okay, Northwest came up with 2.7 million, and then we had about the highest vote for Mr. President-elect, and as such, that should count for something. Honestly, that statement is tenable. Because there is that word that is called a reward system. That, okay, I have done so much, I should get so much. In comparison to somebody who has the same out as I have, but did not deliver that much, maybe based on the terrain in his own political enclave. But the bottom line is we are all on the same page within our party. And the word I use for it is internal democracy. That is what we have as we speak in APC. And honestly, we are going to take care of it nice and proper. But what we encourage on a daily basis is everybody in the party has the right to voice his or her own voice, because that is the only way we can gather the pennies that makes up the pound in politicking.
Okay, so what would going back to the drawing board look like, Mr. Bakare? You've talked about the fact that you believe in a reward system, so that Senator Yari is well within his rights to say that since the northern region gave the APC a significant win towards its presidential ambition, then they ought to be so rewarded, especially with key positions. So are you saying that they are justified in saying that for the Senate presidency, it should go to the Northwest as a suitable reward for a job well done during the elections? What then happens to the other regions who are not represented? Bear in mind that we have a Muslim ticket, we have a Southwestern, Northeastern as president-elect and vice president-elect, and already we have 2 positions for the Northwest. What else are they agitating for? And if they do get these positions, what then happens to Senator Orjiu's Okalu's claim that even though the Southeast didn't show up for the APC as they would have liked in the last election, election cycles are 4 years, and you want to still consolidate the APC's presence in the Southeast. Would that not be totally losing that zone if you don't at least show that you're fair across board?
Thank you, my sister. I would like to repeat myself a little bit here. What you said, your position was apt. But the thing is, there is nothing wrong in asking. There is something they say in Yoruba language, which I guess Rufai will know. Don't be guilty of not asking, because the person you didn't ask will probably tell you, oh, you didn't ask me. How will I have known that you wanted it? It's a basic rule of life to ask. And then you run an inference in the case of Yeri that, okay, the Northwest did a good job, a fantastic job of bringing on the numbers. And as such, for the numbers they brought in, they got the DSP in Jibrin Barao, they got the Speaker of the House in Tajuddin Abbas. Shouldn't that be enough? It is a statement, it is a view, it is the opinion, it is the right of Yeri to say, oh, we want more. And now it is the part of the NWC, the party in itself, to make sure that, okay, Yeri, let's sit down a little bit. Let's try and understand ourselves some more. I normally say something most people, they do know, but at times they don't look at it. If you pick up a pen and write 6 on a piece of paper, if I am seeing 6, if you're on the other side, you'll be seeing 9. The thing is, we are both seeing the same figure. All we need to do is to tell ourselves, my brother, come to my side, you will see 6. If I come to your side, we will see 9. And honestly, that is what we are doing in-house. We have what it takes to make sure that all parties concerned are being negotiated with. Politics is all about negotiation. You see, let me tell you a little bit. The first thing you bring into politics is numbers, votes. The next thing you do, you should be a fantastic negotiator, because you have your own opinions, you have your own wants, you have your own needs, not just for your person, for your constituency, for your people, for your geopolitical zone, and the rest of it. You have a right to come on so that your people can see and say that, oh, our man is putting in a word for us. Our man has put in his best. And as such, because the party reigns supreme, the party has been able to convince our man within that constituency, as in the case of Orjiu Okalu, when the party convinces him that this is the situation on ground, his constituency will be able to say, okay, he fought our cause. And then they will be ready to listen to him and say, okay, what did you bring back? The negotiations, all that they went through, he will have been able to take it back home, give to his people, and then we will have a better situation on hand.
Okay, but in all of this, I like the fact that you like Yoruba adages, but I'll remind you something. There's a vegetable called spinach. The Yorubas call it tete. And there's a huge difference between tete and dagoro, which is another breed of spinach, but it's quite thorny. And the Yorubas have a saying, the way you eat tete is different from probably the way you eat dagoro. Are you people...
I like you. Go ahead.
Are you people not eating tete the way you are eating dagoro now? Remember what happened in 2015. Is this not same plot that started, that led to the emergence of a Bukola Saraki because the APC couldn't align itself?
I will tell you this for free, my brother Rufai. I quite understand and appreciate your analogy too, in case of tete and daburu. In the case of spinach, there is what is called the element of cooking. For every chef, there is a different recipe. For every meal, there is a way around it. I can tell you this, we know how to cook all brands of spinach. We have enough chefs in the house to make sure that it comes out good. The experience you're running an inference to is part of human nature. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing on earth goes straight line. We learn as we go. Life is work in progress. We've seen it then, and I can tell you now, it won't happen again because negotiations, total negotiations are on ground. And one thing that our party chairman said, which counts a lot, is the element of our president-elect. He said, although the president-elect has been briefed, and I guess you know the meaning of brief, he's been briefed, but at least his final voice is needed to balance the scale of things. That is why I'm telling you, negotiations, counter-negotiations are going on, and our chefs in-house are doing a fantastic job of making sure those different breeds of spinach, they come out good enough for you and I to enjoy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bakare. I'm glad you've mentioned the president-elect, and as you said, the chairman of the APC had mentioned that he would play a critical role, an important role in determining the principal officers of the House. So the question is, he's gone on a trip now. According to his spokespeople, he's gone to Europe to have some conversations or meetings with potential investors. So this might delay the process. The first question is, do you know when he'll return from his trip from Europe so that we can expedite the process in terms of the determination, especially bearing in mind the impact it's already having on the unity of the members of the APC? So do you know when he'll be returning? And then number two, what kind of investments is he looking to attract, on his trip to Europe?
Thank you much, my sister. I'm happy you made a mention of his spokesperson and the people with him, his entourage. They know the time he is going to come back. If you're going out to source for something, you are the one in need. In most cases, you don't determine the time frame. You listen to the ones who are ready to give you a hand. And when you talk in terms of investments that we are looking at, for God's sake, our president-elect is an accountant. He worked for Mobile. There are some naysayers out there that say their own bit, but I am telling you, Mobile is not a Nigerian company. It's a multinational conglomerate that will pick you up when you know what you're doing. And I guess he knows what he is doing, and he's coming back with something good. But for us to now come back to the political angle, that, okay, I am saying it, the party chairman is saying the same thing, that our president-elect is going to come back home and weigh in on the situation on ground. Honestly, if you look at court cases where we have judges there seated, we usually have them in odd numbers, 5, 7, and the rest of it, where the lead judge makes the difference. I can tell you, our president-elect, when he gets back, is going to be the lead judge out here, and he's going to make sure the scales are balanced. He is in good stead with all the candidates you are looking at. And I am saying one thing. If I were in the shoes of any of the candidates, be it Jerry, be it Kalu, or the rest of them, I would say the same thing too, because that is what that word in English means, aspiration. I am aspiring for something, so I have to be able to work for it, which doesn't necessarily mean that at the end of the day, if 8 of us are running 100 meters, it is only one person that is going to win that race. All the others, we have to contend with 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. That's my take.
But the consultation, as Mr. Damu has come out to say, was not adequate. Is it as a result of a faulty...
Say that again, please.
The consultation was not adequate. That's what Mr. Damu, your party chairman, came out to say. Was it as a result of a faulty outlook on your party? Because why would you not do a complete consultation and put your legs out, and now you're trying to put it back in when you see the reaction?
My brother, our consultation is concise. It is the reaction you get. Let me tell you one simple thing in terms of weather. You got out of your house in the morning and you wore your pants and then a shirt and just a tie. You left your jacket at home because you felt hot when you were indoors. And you get on the street and it gets cold. You have a right to go back home and pick up your jacket. Nobody's going to fault you for that. We have done what we have done. The people are there on the ground. The aspirants are there on the ground. And at the same time, they have a right to voice their opinions. And it is the opinions we are listening to. Life is work in progress. There is nothing rigid. If you are rigid, you belong in the cemetery. That is where rigid people belong. We are not rigid in our party. We're very, very fluid. And for everything we do, it is work in progress that is concise enough, that is going to get us to where we want, that is going to give Nigeria a better space in the world, in the Committee of Nations. And honestly, we all need to work together. And like I said in my first opening, this is what we call internal democracy. It is just between us. Rufai, you are my brother. I'll probably take a big beef on a day that you're going to take a smaller one. And there will be another day that mom will say, okay, big brother, let Rufai have it. And then I'll gladly let go. That is the situation on ground, my brother and sister.
All right? Like they say, time will tell. It's just a month down the line.